ER verbs follow certain rules, IR verbs follow other rules, and then there's a whole other category of verbs that are like the kids at the back of the class. They don't follow any rules. Hi everyone, bonjour à tous, I'm Kashi and this is Let Us Learn French. If you're excited to learn how to conjugate verbs in the present tense in French, then give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe and hit the bell notification so you never miss a video from us. Let's jump into the video. First, verbs can be categorized in three general groups. The first group is known as the ER verbs, verbs ending in ER or ER. So some examples are aimer, to love, jouer, to play, écouter, to listen, changer, to change. Those verbs are regular verbs, and the good news is most verbs are actually group 1 verbs. There is one exception though, and it is the verb aller, to go, which ends in ER, but it is an irregular verb. We'll talk about how to conjugate aller in a later video. The second group of verbs is IR verbs, or verbs ending in IR or ER. For example, choisir, to choose, agir, to act, grandir, to grow. These are also regular verbs, however, there are some verbs ending in IR which are irregular, but we will consider them as part of group 3 verbs. Talking about group 3 verbs, those are everything else. So those include verbs that end in RE, OIR, and some of those irregular verbs ending in IR. Group 3 verbs are irregular, which means that they don't follow a specific rule. Instead, we have to learn to conjugate them individually, but this is for later. We'll tackle conjugating group 3 verbs in later videos. But for now, let's learn how to conjugate group 1 and group 2 verbs. More specifically, the rules for each. Once you learn the rules, it's very easy to conjugate group 1 and group 2 verbs. In a nutshell, to conjugate ER and IR verbs, you simply remove the ending, that is the ER and IR, and you add a different ending to them. For example, let's conjugate a group 1 verb, or a verb ending in ER. Jouer, to play. Je joue, tu joues, il joue, elle joue, on joue, nous jouons, vous jouez, il joue, elle joue. So as you can see here, we have removed the ER at the end of jouer, and we have replaced it with E for je, ES for tu, E for il, elle, on, ONS for nous, EZ for vous, and ONT for il, elle, plural. The same rule applied for every other verb ending in ER, so every other group 1 verb, except of course aller that we talked about earlier because it's an exception. Let's conjugate another verb. Aimer, to love. J'aime, tu aimes, il aime, elle aime, on aime, nous aimons, vous aimez, ils aiment, elles aiment. In this case, we use J apostrophe instead of je because aimer starts with a vowel. Now, I know that I said that that's everything for ER verbs, but there's just 2 more things, little things I promise. So for verbs ending in GER, GER, this is how we conjugate it. So if you notice, the difference is for nous, there's an E before the ending. So for example, we say nous mangeons. Without the E, it would say nous mangeons. We don't really want to say nous mangeons, we want to say nous mangeons. So we add the E. And this applies to every verb ending in GER. For example, changer, nous changeons. Everything else is conjugated the same way. So je, tu, il, elle, on, vous, il, elle, conjugated the same. The second thing is for verbs ending in CER. This time, for nous, it's always a problem with nous. This time, we don't add an E, but instead of the C, we write a CCD. For example, this is how we conjugate the verb commencer. Notice, nous commençons, there's a CCD. Now, let's move on to conjugating group 2 verbs or verbs ending in IR. But quick before we go there, please smash the like button if you like it so far. Grandir, to grow. Je grandis, tu grandis, il grandit, elle grandit, on grandit, nous grandissons, vous grandissez, ils grandissent, elles grandissent. So here to conjugate it, we remove the IR and we replace it by IS for je and tu, IT for il, elle, on, ISSON for nous, ISSEZ for vous, and ISSENT for il, elle. Another example is choisir, to choose. Je choisis, tu choisis, il choisit, elle choisit, on choisit, nous choisissons, vous choisissez, ils choisissent, elles choisissent. And that's it. I hope it helped. If it did and you have an idea of how to conjugate regular verbs in the present tense, let me know in the comments below and hit the like button. Verbs are a whole different world by themselves and we have a lot to cover with them. So we'll have a whole playlist dedicated to verbs. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you know when we upload a video. Follow us on Instagram at Let Us Learn French Official, where we give you a new French word of the day every day. I've also created a free PDF with everything we just talked about and a quick summary of conjugating group 1 and group 2 verbs, so make sure you get that from the description below. Also check out those 2 videos that might interest you. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I'll see you next Sunday. Take care.